Hello and welcome back to the Creative Amplifiers show. I am here, I am back. My holidays have finished. I'm probably not much more tanned than I was before I went, but I had a very nice time despite being a little bit ill. How are you both? How are you, Lisa? How are you, Neil?
I'm good. Neil, how are you?
I'm doing all right, thank you so much. Just looking at George's comment, where's the hamster? The hamster is no longer with us, George. He's gone to that big hamster place in the sky. He's only here if problems occur.
Only if this is the case.
Happen.
Oh, we don't want that to happen.
But we don't
want that.
We don't think. Well, it should be fine. It should be fine. Hey, Roy, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. And Para Jimmy, hello, thank you. I'm glad you've put that comment in there. We do indeed have Homesick Mac. He's going to be talking all things music. I'm very excited because as a musician myself, this is going to be really fun. I'm interested in terms of the musical side, but also the teaching side and everything as well. So yeah, this is going to be a fun show. So Lisa, what have you been up to? Anything exciting, anything new that you can do as an exclusive on this show today?
Been dying to ask me that for the last month.
And the month before and the month before, because we know what's been going on.
Yes. I'm finally slowly rolling out my new video podcast. So I'll be on the lookout for that. And just follow me on Instagram and you can see what's going on.
Wow. It's very exciting. Yeah. We know a little bit about it. We're going to be on no, we're not on any shows at all. We're not quite the demographic,
any,
but we'll be there supporting you from the sidelines. Neil, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been video editing like a crazy person using Final Cut Pro for some client work, which has been fun. And I forgot to mention before in the pre-show that there is some exciting news coming up for Final Cut Pro users very soon. They're going to announce a new version, and we're all waiting with eager anticipation for these new features that have been a long time coming. So hopefully Final Cut Pro will be brought into the 21st century and catch up finally to things like CapCut and DaVinci Resolve. So hopeful for that. But yeah, just been a long few weeks of video editing, but it's been fun. Thank you.
And do you have any inkling of what that might be? Is it caption based or anything like that, do you think? Or
captions, they've teased at the last Mac event. They actually showed Final Cut Pro and they said, we're going to add captions to this video now. They're actually showing something else. And everyone went, oh, it's Final Cut Pro and it's got captions. So it's going to have captions in it for definite. And we're hoping that I'd like the text-based editing, similar to Descript. And then I can just get Descript. Descript. I love you, really. But I don't. So we'll see.
So interesting. And just before we move on, the editing is something that I'm sort of doing more and more of. I've done everything from Audacity, just from the audio side, and CapCut I'm really enjoying using. I do Descript as well in terms of that sort of flow. What are the Lisa, what do you like to use? What's your kind of workflow and what's your sort of favorite tools at the moment?
I use Descript for a rough edit, just to get all the ums and all that madness out. And then, I'm sorry, Neil, I've been using Adobe Premiere Pro, the beta. Because they have some, I know, gosh, what's wrong with me?
What?
But, they have a lot of things that it integrates with a lot of other programs and other software. Yeah. So that's been my reason for doing it. But Final Cut has not yet done.
No.
So maybe I'll come to your side.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come over.
Come to
the final side. Yeah, the final side.
We'll see.
And Neil, you're a hard user, aren't you, of Final Cut? So it's sort of there.
I've just been using it for years. That's from the original version. That's why. But don't get me wrong. Descript is fantastic at what it does, and I enjoy using it. Sometimes it can just be a bit clunky, but it's got better recently. I just wish Final Cut would have some better features, but. Fingers crossed. Let's wait and see. I might be miserable in a couple of weeks' time, so that's me again.
I think certainly one of the things... Sorry, Lisa. Go
ahead. Oh, no, I was just going to say about Descript. If you know how to edit, like in Final Cut or Premiere, and you're using the timeline, then it's really beautiful to go back and forth with the text editing to the timeline. So
yeah.
That's my take.
I mean, I think some of the conversations we've had is that I often think, oh, if I could just have the tool which does everything. But I think all three of us have realized that actually what you need is a combination of different tools, depending on your use case, depending on what you're trying to do, depending on what your workflow is going to be, and actually kind of embracing that and narrowing it down, not getting every new tool that's out there, but sort of fine tuning how that works for you. It saves you time in the end. It makes life easier.
Agreed.
Indeed.
Cool. So let's bring on our guest today. As I said, we're going to be talking music. We're going to be talking guitars. We're going to have some music being played. We're going to have a little look around the studio. So we've got kind of a new use case situation. It's not just about the content from an audio point of view in terms of talking or sharing. It's actually that musical side as well from an acoustic point of view as well. So if you are ready, Mac, give me a little wave and then we will bring you on and say hello to you. Here he is. Hey, Mac, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much.
So why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about your sort of musical journey and sort of what was it about the guitar that kind of made you fall into music and fall in love with wanting to play that instrument?
Oh, well, we go way back to 1975 when I was 15 years old, and I started by playing accordion, as many kids in my former home country of Yugoslavia did. But I was kind of interested in the guitar for some reason. I had a neighbor who played it, and it was like, oh, I'd like to learn how to play that. So that's how I started. So when I was 15, I asked my parents to buy me a guitar, and of course it was a nylon string classical guitar that had nothing to do with what I wanted to play, but that's what I had. So that's how I started. And I was hooked from day one, and I just wanted to learn absolutely anything I could, and I just wanted to play all days. That's how I started.
Amazing. And I just wanted to say, I think it's fantastic to sort of have this sort of European connection. Neil's in Portugal, I'm obviously here in the UK, and Marcus is here in the chat as well. It's great to have this sort of European Ecamm Fam as well as just the Americans as well. So it's great to have that contingent. I really appreciate it.
Continental touch.
Exactly, indeed. Lisa.
Yeah. So what, obviously you worked as a performer and everything, but what inspired you to begin to teach, specifically teach online? Share your love of the guitar.
Yeah, well, it started when I, it was always about sharing, because I've learned how to play those first couple of chords by asking this neighbor to help me out. And he did that happily. And since I got all the help I needed from the start, it was so natural for me to help anybody else who asked me about anything guitar related, like, oh, you play that lick, and can you show me that? Yeah, sure, no problem. So I did that from the beginning, before it was called teaching, because before I understood it was teaching. And when I was around 25, I think I've already started performing, and we had this band from 1983 when I was like 23, and we started playing quite professionally, the three of us, as the blues trio. The first, as I know, maybe I'm not right, but they told us we were the first acoustic blues band in Eastern Europe. So it was like, okay, I'll take that credit. And we started playing, and then when I was around 25, maybe 26, and somebody asked me to teach him a lesson about some playing techniques and all that. So I did that, and I really, really liked it. And I liked this, spark in the eyes of a listener who's like, oh, that's right, that's how it's done. And I really love that feeling. And later on, I just happened to be in situations where it was okay to get some teaching job on the side from playing. And I started doing workshops about guitar playing prior to my, let's say, evening gigs. And then in the afternoon, I might do a workshop of some kind. And that's what started when I usually played in blues associations, especially in Sweden and Scandinavia. Blues is really, it's a good scene up here, or here to the left from the States. And it was easy to get gigs, both in clubs, but also in blues associations of different kinds, and they arranged their small festivals and all that, and it was cool. So that's how the teaching started. But then later on, when my kids got a little bit older, I wanted to stop this extensive touring that I did for like 25 years, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll start teaching and get me a proper job, maybe something like that. Because many people who I meet, they started working and then they pursue the music career after maybe 10, 20 years of working. Like, oh, I'm fed up with this. I don't want to work anymore. I want to play. I want to go out playing. You know, so I did the opposite. So I played until I got like, okay, it's okay. And yeah, that's how I got started. And then I got this job at the non-profit organization in Sweden, which has never been a job. It's never like, oh, you musicians, you sell your souls to the corporations, and you know. No, it wasn't like that. It was really, they have a great way to work with people, work with musicians, work with people who want to be creative, and we're funded by the state in Sweden. So it's great to share that way as well.
I love that, and it feels like blues guitar is that's your love, that's your heart.
Yeah, well, early American Americana maybe. I like both early jazz, blues, hillbilly, which kind of started the whole country thing, because it was hillbilly before it was Texas swing, and before it was country music, and before it was bluegrass. So it's kind of, I really like to go to the roots to understand where did this all start, because when I was like a teenager, then we were listening to blues records that came from the UK. You know, you had John Mayall, you had Eric Clapton, you got Led Zeppelin, you got those bands that we all loved. But I wanted to learn, okay, where did their influences come from? And then somebody bought this record by Rolling Stones, where they credited Muddy Waters to be their big kind of idol and somebody they really looked up to. And they were like, okay, Muddy Waters, let's investigate that. So I really like to start to understand where the things start. Another example, when I was like 21, I was doing my military service in Yugoslavia, and I met a guy who was totally hooked on Doc Watson, an American legend when it comes to finger picking, flat picking guitar, country, and it was like nobody knew about him. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then he played a song, Deep River Blues, which I really loved. And I really cut my fingers on that one for ages. And then I realized that, okay, so it's not his song, it's his own version of an old Delmore Brothers song. And Delmore Brothers were a hillbilly duo from the 30s and 40s and away a little bit into the 50s, who really pioneered these early music styles. So it's like everything is connected in a wonderful way. So that's what I always find so inspiring.
Yeah, I love finding the origin story. It's great. Neil?
So as well as obviously a performer and a teacher, you're also known for your yearly guitar retreats. And so what was the inspiration behind setting up these retreats, and what can participants expect to experience when they join you on these retreats?
So the idea for the retreat came after I've been teaching in the UK in a very special guitar program. It's called Blues Week by the European Blues Association. And it's an association in the UK ran by Michael Roach, who's an American musician, comes from Washington, and he moved to the UK because he met his wife, who was British. So they moved to the UK, and he just wanted to do something similar to those very famous guitar camps and gatherings in the States, like Port Townsend, let's say. It's a great gathering. It's a 1 week of workshops. So he just kind of moved the whole concept to the UK and started this Blues Week. And then I got hired by being recommended by Louisiana Red, the guy who I have on my T-shirt. So Louisiana Red and Sam Mitchell, who I also played with. Sam Mitchell is a Liverpool-based, unfortunately, he passed away. But Sammy came from Liverpool, and the two of us, we met in Copenhagen and started playing together. He was actually my kind of idol when I was starting and playing slide guitar when I was like 17, 18, 19. And then we met like 15, 17 years later and really hit it off and became good friends and started playing together. So those two guys recommended me to Michael Roach to come and teach. And I really never taught on that level. I did kind of one-on-one and maybe smaller groups, about 5, 6 people. But in the UK, you had a room full of people, like between like 20 and 30 people, sometimes all of them playing these resophonic, very loud guitars. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do this. But it went great that first year. And then I came back for, I think, 8 consecutive years. And then we jumped over 1 year. And then I came back for 2 more years. And in 2011, Michael called me and said, man, I can't book you for the next year. You will be back, of course, but we need to renew the staff and you know, just to bring somebody else and just, do that. And I said, okay, no problem. And when I put down the phone, I said, okay, no problem, but wait, I was counting on that money in my bank. It's like, okay, so what am I going to do? So I just kind of sent an email to a bunch of people I knew in Sweden who were both musicians, some were promoters, some were guitar makers. I just sent an email to everybody saying, look, I might start my own event. Would you be interested to come, and can you recommend somebody who would also like to come so I can contact them? And to cut the story short, I had 20 people on that first guitar retreat on a very cozy island, very close to where I live. I live in Helsingborg in Sweden, which is on the world map. You see Europe, you see Scandinavia, you see Copenhagen, and very close to Copenhagen, that's where this little island is. And I really wanted to offer people a way to relax. So I didn't want to call it Blues Weekend with Homesick Mac or something. And I didn't even mention the word blues. I just wanted to be a retreat. We get together, we leave the mainland behind us, we're on an island. It's always something special with islands. And I just wanted to relax. I didn't even want to teach too much. I just wanted to gather and jam and maybe, I don't know, I would just let it develop by itself. And that's exactly what happened. I had at least 10 songs ready, maybe to teach if they wanted to listen to me and all that. So it all just went great. And ever since, this is the 14th annual year that we're going to be running it in 2025. Exactly the same interest for people. It's always between 20 to 25 people who come. And I think I had around 85% of returning customers, which means we're going to retire together, maybe, which is going to go on as long as we are able to play. So I don't know. It's a very, very nice event, yeah. And it's more about socializing and just, spending time together. And many students told me that as well. They just said, man, this is so great. Apart from guitar playing, that's great, but this just hanging out in the evenings and sitting on the porch and jamming and playing, and that's where it starts shining, because you get people to the retreat who are like beginners when it comes to blues or slide guitar or open tunings, and they sit there like students and listen and try the stuff and all, and then all of a sudden in the evening when we do the evening jams, they really play some crazy jazz licks, because that's what they usually do, right? It was like, okay. So there's always something wonderful hidden in a human being that's in front of you. You never really know. And this moment of, getting to know somebody deeper and better, and that becomes more than just, coming to the retreat and being a participant. It's like, we're becoming friends, we're helping each other, we're keeping the contact. And one of the best things that happened with the retreat was that there was this group of people, like 5 or 6 people, who came from the same area in southern Sweden. And they started their own blues jams every Friday, inspired by the retreat and the whole set of the way how we do it. So they get together, they find songs they want to work on, they learn how to play the chords, they kind of have a plan with it, right? So and then they rehearse, and it's just amazing. So, and that group has been active for more than 10 years. So that's my greatest reward. Like, yeah.
It sounds like you have an amazing community as well, which is what we find here at Ecamm. It's just the people and the people that keep coming back and so on. And I probably didn't hear, when is the retreat? What particular time of year do you typically have your retreat in?
It's usually the 3rd weekend in July. So next year it's going to be between 18th and 20th, the group 1, and then that's Friday to Sunday, and then Monday to Wednesday for the group 2. And that's how I can accommodate both people who sometimes don't want to miss the weekend with their families when they have vacations in July, you know that. So I have these 2 groups.
Great. And we've just seen there when that is, so thanks for sharing that, Mark. Mark?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So as a musician myself, and someone who teaches, there's always this kind of sort of grey area between, you've got someone who's really keen and maybe sort of very proficient, but then you've also got somebody who maybe is a beginner as well, and sort of the way you approach that can be very different. So can you just sort of give us a little bit of sort of insight into how you go about those 2 different things? And I guess because we're here talking about Ecamm, you know, the difference between that sort of in person and when you're doing it online.
Yeah, well, when teaching in person, it's much easier. You have a group, and usually we start off the retreat, especially when I was new with that. And that's what I learned in the UK, basically. I was talking to other instructors, and they were much more experienced, and they were also very happy to share with me, like, I'll just make them play something, play a very simple song together, and just, you know, scan the room and see who's taking the solo, or maybe who's playing too loud, who wants to show off, who's like a very shy. Just kind of scan the room and just sort people in the, you know, boxes of how they're doing, and then you know how to approach the group. And that helped me a lot. So that's what I always do with the group. We always start playing a very simple song, sometimes a song that really everybody would know, and then I see where they are on their musical journey. So usually in my group, especially on the retreat, when I really feel safe and I know, you know, I'm running the show and they're with me for next hour and a half of that kind of morning set. And then I kind of do the concept of the whole thing by recognizing who can do what. And then I kind of assign the roles, just like in Final Cut Pro, Neil, right? Assign the role. And then somebody who is really kind of a bit pushy, they want to show off and play, and you know, I give those guys a solo. And we have a rule that's only 2 rounds of solo. In blues, you have, let's say, 12-bar blues. It's like a shuffle blues. And usually on the largest jam sessions, when you have, you know, Joe Bonamassa jamming with Eric Clapton or Derek Trucks, you know, they play 2 rounds of solo. That's it. And then you step back and you let somebody else come forward. And that's exactly what I do with my groups. I always kind of make sure that those who maybe are good with chords, but they were not able maybe to play a solo or something, I give them the responsibility to take care of the rhythm, of the groove. And then I explain the groove, because I always say, play it simple, but make it groovy. And I will be demonstrating that when I'm, you know, about to play a little bit for you guys. And that's why I try to scan the room, scan the group, and then assign the roles, the parts that they would be comfortable with. And that's where their development would start. So sometimes I see people who come on the day 1, very shy, only play chords, no finger style, just plectrum. Although I tell them, like, look guys, we're not using plectrum here. We're just playing with our fingers, okay? And then all of a sudden, day 3, before we, you know, are about to leave, then they just shine, and they've learned both some licks when it comes to good accompaniment and maybe some new solo lick and stuff. So that's basically how I would approach. I would give them different roles within a song that we're all playing, and then it's always a good control of, I'll point you out when you're about to play a solo, so then they can really relax and just think about the best way how to play it.
Yeah, I love that. And it's I can sort of resonate with some of those things from the things I've done within my groups, and how you sort of build those things up. And it's about, like you say, it's about environment, it's about confidence, and I can see why the treats are such a passion for you, because having been on these sorts of things myself, that I've got so many memories from being very young, even to sort of into my sort of adulthood of doing it, because much the same as Creator Camp, for me, Cam, you know, there's something about the community and the people, and especially when you get returning people coming back, you just sort of build those relationships, and it's such a special thing.
Yeah, of course.
Lisa.
First of all, where can I sign up? Because this sounds like a lot of fun.
You're more than welcome, Lisa.
I'm in. But as somebody who has a guitar that's sitting in the corner and gathering dust, and, you know, I look at it, shy. What advice would you give to somebody? Because I desperately would love to learn how to play the guitar, just to sit down and, you know, strum out a few things. But what advice would you give to somebody who might feel a little overwhelmed, or, you know, a little bit?
Oh, I deal with that every time. I deal with that every time. Very often would people send me an email and show, you know, their interest in the retreat or just taking a lesson or something, and they say, look, I'm not really good, I can't really play, I don't feel comfortable with other people, and I don't want to, you know, let's say, who am I to come to play, right? It's a usual thing I'm hearing, and if I would always advise not to compare yourself to somebody who's, you know, a very good player already, but nothing comes just from the sky and by the gift of God that you all of a sudden can play the guitar. It's hours and hours of practicing if you want to come to a professional level where you want to play for people, because the main difference between somebody who's sitting in their home and practicing guitars, because nowadays you have all the resources in the world. You have, I don't want to, you know, brag about us, the generation who's like 60 plus, that didn't have so many resources, especially in Eastern Europe. Like, oh, we didn't have all those books, and, you know, VHS came like, you know, 5, 6, 10 years later to us before they came to the rest of the world. But it's true that the difference between somebody who can play for people is that they've done it so many times that you feel confident with what you can do technically on your instrument, and then you can relax and have that just rolling, and then you come across with a story, maybe somebody, I mean, I play very few instrumental songs on my gigs. I always have a story to tell through a song. There's always a reason why I'm singing a song or not singing it. And that already from the start gives me the inspiration to play. So for somebody who has a guitar gathering dust somewhere, I would just advise to take it up. Don't keep the guitar in the case or just on the wall. Play it for 10, 15, 20 minutes a day if you can. Play what you already know, just to make you know, the juice is going. Play every day. But what I also find that happens often for with people is that they kind of, okay, I'll play 20 minutes every day, but then maybe today they would play 20 minutes in the morning, and then tomorrow 20 minutes in the evening, and then 20 minutes in the middle of the day. Okay, I'll play some guitar during the lunch. Yeah, okay, but you're not going to be consistent that way. It's always the best to find a time of the day when you really know, I can always count on these hours or this part of the hour. For me, it's evenings. Around 8 p.m., I know that I can always count on that time to be able to play. And then I would always advise you to sit for like 20 minutes and play. Stage 2 is when you feel comfortable with that, then if you want to learn something new, and there are zillions of free lessons on YouTube from people who are really good at that, and they show how to play, how to do things. And I always advise to start small, start simple, and then just go piece by piece. Never try to play the whole song, which is new, and the whole maybe rhythmic pattern that's new. Just go verse by verse, or maybe even lyric line by line, and go that way. So make sure that you always have this little, this carrot in front of you that will always kind of give you the satisfaction. Okay, I made it today. Never leave the practicing session not being satisfied with what you've done. And a lot can be done within 20 minutes. Trust me.
It's just consistency, be gentle with yourself, and have fun, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
And
think I can do that.
find somebody who can be your accountability partner. Maybe get together with somebody who maybe a neighbor would play a guitar, or I don't know. It's always good to be more than one.
Neil, can you be my accountability partner?
Well, I do play a little bit of guitar, but not very well. See, I'm in the same boat. I've got a guitar right outside this room, and it's just sat there, and I haven't picked it up for years. So maybe in 2025, we'll do a little mini concert together. We'll get Mark on the drums. You and I will play guitar together, and we'll see how that goes. That would be a show.
Exactly.
That would be a
Not
show.
So there you go. Definitely.
Well, we've got guitars in our house because our son is a guitarist. So maybe if there are people in the chat who would really like to see this, just to put the ball out there and put the idea out there, maybe Creative Amplifiers on tour in some form or another, doing a live stream.
Exactly.
Is something which you may or may not want to want to witness. But,
I'm just setting up the GoFundMe page right now. Give me a second. We
There
need
we
to
go.
raise 10 grand by January of next year. So let's do that. Yes. Well, without us being on the show playing guitar, I just wanted to say that your content that you create is really engaging. And we just want to know, what's your approach to sort of creating content that resonates with your audience? What's your secret?
My idea with YouTube was, first of all, to share the knowledge. And that came, I've started my YouTube channel years ago, but then I started when the pandemic came. It was a turning point for maybe you kind of start thinking deeply or deeper about life. Okay, I made it through this very serious pandemic. I'm extremely grateful for that. And at the same time, I realized, come on, man, I just turned 60. And when I turned 50, it was like, nothing. Okay, fine. Yeah. But when I turned 60, something just started telling me in the back of my head, man, who knows what's going to happen? You made it through the pandemic, but you never know. And all the knowledge that I've gathered, which might not be the greatest knowledge in the world, and of course it's not, but I'm still ahead many years of people who are not maybe dedicating that much time to guitar playing, getting to know about the blues. So I started thinking about, okay, maybe I can start to use my cameras, because I've used to work with both photo and video for a couple of years prior to the pandemic. I knew how to use cameras and all that. Then the Ecamm came, and that was a revelation, of course. That fantastic community, that fantastic energy gathered there. It's like, I got to start. Then, Doc Rock, Diana Gladney, Indira, and many other people in the community, they just said, come on, man, just start, just go for it and do it. So I started with live streaming. And that was the most natural thing for me to do, because I am a performer, so I don't have a problem talking to the camera. It's another thing that I was mumbling too much in the beginning, and I really didn't have a concept, and I was like, it's not easy to combine both the tech stuff and then playing and then talking and then taking care of the chat and everything. So it really took me 20, 30 live streams to really get into it, but then I really started loving it. So I did 100 live streams, and that was my kind of content. And all of a sudden I realized I got to 500 subscribers on YouTube, and people commenting during the live streams, and people sending me emails and contacting me through Twitter. And it was like, okay, so somebody's really interested in this. And I even see some people here in the chat. By the way, hi Jimmy, and hi Jonas Linders, my retreater actually. And I know Roy, the tech troublemaker, we had some great stuff together on YouTube. And it's like, I understood that this with content is kind of feeding me with good energy. Every time I'm done with a live stream, I really go and sleep well. I feel good, and it's I'm on the clouds for a couple of days after that. So now the thing is that I've stopped live streaming after 100 episodes because I wanted to concentrate on creating instructional videos. And then I started doing that. I think I released 6 or 7 videos, and a couple of them really got many views and all that. But then my family move came, and I was distracted with lots of stuff happening, then lots of work, then the summer, festivals, gigging and all that. So I wasn't really consistent. But speaking of content, I'm going to share a lot of stuff when it comes to guitar playing, but also about the stuff behind the playing itself. How to take care of your career, how to be sustainable, holistic, how to manage the life puzzle. Like, okay, I'm 55, I'm still working, but I want to play guitar more than I'm doing now. So which means I need to really get organized. I need to do stuff faster, maybe better. I need to somehow just get into this groove of having time for everything and not always feeling that I'm behind. So that's also what I'm going to be talking about on the channel. So I'm thinking like 80% done in the studio, and I'll be showing you around. But so when I'm really done and I can really start, then I have around 300 ideas for YouTube videos of all kinds, and they're all neatly planned and all neatly sorted in Notion databases and everything. So
Wow, that's
yeah,
incredible.
it's just to start, just like with you, Lisa. Just start playing, and Mac, start filming. That's it.
Fantastic. Well, that takes us beautifully on. Can you sort of take us around your studio and sort of talk from that sort of tech element in terms of mics, your camera setup, and obviously how you use Ecamm within that? Because I think it's like I say, it's one thing talking about these things, but to actually sort of understand the nuts and bolts of what you actually need to produce what it is to enable your content to be as good as it is.
Yeah. Okay. Before I start, swapping around with the camera and make you all dizzy, I'll just say that I'm using exclusively Sony cameras, not because I'm sponsored, but because I've kind of started with Nikon cameras. I had Panasonic, a couple of those, and I still have my Fuji X100, which is my favorite street photography camera. I love that. But Sony cameras are true workhorses. So I'll show that when I'm swapping with a camera. And then I'm using Ecamm because Ecamm makes it possible that I can make, let's say, the scenes. This is the scene number 1, and then this would be the scene when I have my guitars. This camera is for my right hand, picking hand, and this camera is for my left hand. So I will adjust some lighting so that it's more visible, but basically that's how I do my live streams and my teaching. I can always zoom in even more if I want to. And then I also have this little camera that's going to be used to show you around. So let's do it. You've seen me. So now this is my desk, and on the desk, I'm using the Ecamm in my on my left monitor, and here to the right is Zoom, our meeting, right? So I see what I'm showing you guys, so it's good. And then just a regular standing desk, up and down, you can move it. And I usually have, this is my latest effect processor for guitar and singing that I just acquired a couple of weeks ago, and I'm working on that. And in order to work consistently with that, it's on my desk. It's just the one button and we're on. I can play. And then I'm using Rodecaster Pro 2, as my audio interface, both for Ecamm, teaching, even recording. It's a great interface. I just love that thing. So, more than that, this on the wall here is one of the most important things in my, musical life. That first year when I taught at the Blues Week, the students got me this T-shirt of the European Blues Association, and they signed it. All of them signed it and gave me some nice cheering words about my teaching and everything. And that's on my wall. And that keeps the mood up. I really respect that.
That's really nice.
And one of the guitarists, right? And then, let me see. Okay, let's do it this way. Right now, this is something that I just bought a couple of weeks ago. This is actually another desk, which can be, up and down. It's motorized. And then on this desk, I have this, you see the camera for my right hand is on this special pole, which is a frame that goes around and to another side, and that's where the other camera is, and then the main camera is right in front of me. So all this is connected to the table, which means if I move the table, everything is moving with me. So I can have different, the thing is that I can have different angles for my room. I can film from here, then I can also film this way, or I can just be like this in the middle, in between my two shelves, and do it that way. But that's where the technical part, the tech part, comes in, because when I'm right in front of the background, I have the reflection of this big light. And that's what I'm trying to solve now. It's mostly about solving the reflections. And more than that, it's just this, some shelves with stuff that inspires me, Muddy Waters, of course, there. I have my two mostly played guitars behind my back while I'm working, and some storage over there, IKEA stuff, of course. And then this poster behind me, that's a friend of mine who is also a musician from Belgrade, and he is one of the world's most renowned illustrators. He works with I don't know, this was the poster that he made for a festival in Barcelona, I think, and he lives in Spain. So very, very special person in my life, both a musical colleague and a great artist in his own right? So that was a little tour of what I have when it comes to tech, and I'm using Ecamm with their system for making scenes, which is very similar to OBS, which is a free software. Mm-hmm. But Ecamm is paid software, but it's so worth it. Not only that the software is extremely powerful and extremely reliable, this community behind Ecamm and the two main developers, Ken and Glenn, and then Katie, their marketing person, and it's just an amazing family to be a part of. And I can always get help if I, need within Ecamm. So it's just amazing. I love that community.
And just before we,
oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, just before we hear you play and sort of round off, we should talk a little bit about the audio side of things, because I'm assuming you've got an overhead there, because we're not seeing anything
That's
close
right.
up, and how that affects your guitar as well.
All right.
You beat me to it.
Sorry, I forgot.
We all want to know about the
that.
audio as well. Of course.
Okay, so the audio comes from this microphone, which is on this boom arm by Rode, the cheapest one you can get. It's attached to the desk here. And okay, this is also a part of the setup. This is a Stream Deck XL, where I can switch between scenes with these two buttons, and some other scenes are already pre-programmed here. So that's right next to me when I'm live streaming or teaching or whatever. So this is Earthworks SR314. If you watch, YouTubers using Earthwork microphones, it's usually Ethos a model, which is very similar to this in size. But I also wanted a microphone that could be used live. And this microphone is absolutely amazing live, because usually when you I can even demonstrate that. Okay, I'll switch the scene. Where are we now? There. So you hear I'm much closer to it, so I really need to lower my voice. But basically, if I come very close to the microphone, I'm getting this quite bassy voice, which you don't really have. But when I move, let's say 10 centimeters away, I still get this really, really good audio. And I know that, and I've tested this, and I analyzed it with, equalization of different kinds. And I realized that, let's say, if you have a good condenser mic, especially this Earthworks is great, that you can really move left, right, and not lose too much of the proximity. You see, I'm quite okay. 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters from the microphone, closer and all that. And that's something that really gives you peace of mind when it comes to live audio. So basically that's it.
Being an audio guy myself, I think that sounds fantastic, and I didn't realize that you're getting that proximity effect, even being quite a few centimeters away from the microphone, which is unheard of if you're using a traditional shotgun microphone, for example. So like using our microphones that we are now, we have to be quite close to get that type of effect. And that is such a sensitive, really clear sounding microphone. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. And the reason I bought it was because I've been watching Tom Buck, an amazing creator. I love his videos and his way of explaining things, and he's really humble when it comes to his own knowledge, but he's fantastic. So he was using this, and still is using, Sennheiser, something H50 or something.
The MK something other, isn't it? MKH.
Yeah, MKH50. And that microphone is like $1,200, which is like, okay, but I would pay that money. I could save up and just do it, but still, that microphone is not for live usage for me. And I'm a little bit trying to be both practical and sustainable, and I want to buy a microphone that can use both live and in the studio. And this is a perfect solution. Ethos is fantastic Earthworks microphone, but you need to get a little bit closer to it. And just listen to Thomas Frank and his videos. He always had this little Ethos around 15 centimeters away from him, maybe 20 on an angle, and you get some really great audio. In my case, in this room, I still haven't treated it. So if you're really careful, if you listen to this through your headphones, there is a room sound behind what I'm saying. So if I could come closer to the microphone, then it's of course less of the room sound, but I like this freedom of kind of being able to move a little bit and still talk to you. And I'll use this microphone and a little bit of the MV7 Shure, which is also here. I'll use that for the guitar, but I'm getting some noise because I really have to push this microphone with the input gain. And then it doesn't really sound so good. You really need to come close to this microphone. And,
so just to recap, the one that you're using overhead is the Earthworks 314 condenser microphone, yeah?
SR314, and this is the MV7. So MV7, and I'm really close to it, and I have it on 62 dB of gain. So this is how you need to come this close to this microphone. So it's just, I can't play the guitar through it really. So yeah. I'll switch them.
Cool.
So back on Earthworks. Yes.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
The use case of what you need, and it's so easy to say I need this particular microphone because everyone's talking about it, but you just demonstrated so brilliantly there. What is it that I need? Why do I need it in your situation there? But like you say, do I then need it as a live production as well? And just, I think, really understanding what you're about and then getting what you need is such a key thing.
Yeah, it is really. And I have, let's say, 5 or 6 microphones all together, and 2 of those are, if you go to any of my live streams, the guitar sound is always coming through 2 Octava MK012 microphones. They're like a pencil-looking microphones that can be maybe 20 centimeters away from my guitar, and those 2, I pair them in stereo in Rodecaster Pro. And that sound is just wonderful, especially for the room. It's giving you nice, distinct frequencies, not too booming, not too trebly. They're really, really great. And then I have one Aston Origin microphone from the UK, and I love that for just studio work, basic studio work. And then this one, of course, I have a SM58, which is a basic microphone for live performing for every musician, and that's it. I don't have the battery of a bunch of different microphones that I buy because I want to buy them. I'd rather buy guitars.
Why not?
Said like a real musician. I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well,
Yes.
Mac, thank you so much. This has been amazing, and I think really understanding how it works from your passion and how your sort of career has been built through that in terms of how the contents come about as well. So can we finish off? Let's hear what you do. Give us a little bit of performance, a little bit of a swan song, shall we say? Just to sort of hear how that goes.
All right. So if I just manage to get this loose. So I'm mostly playing slide. When it comes to, if you tell me like, okay, you're on a desert island, you have one guitar with you, and you're allowed to play one song, what's it going to be? Then it would always include slide playing, because I just love slide technique, and it's something that it's been inspiring me for ages. And this guitar is not even so significant for me to say like, oh, this is a metal guitar, everybody else is playing blues and we play resophonic guitars. It's not because of that. It's just because this guitar has a history of me being in Germany, meeting some fantastic friends, and learning to play even better by meeting Sam Mitchell from the UK. And then we performed with like 2 metal guitars. And, it was a very important part of my life and all that. So, but I'm switching between this kind of resophonic guitar, and it's called resophonic because it's got metal resonators, aluminum resonators inside the body. And then it's got this cover plate, and then everything else is metal apart from the neck. So it's a very special model of the guitar, and it sounds like this. I will lower the microphone. So earthworks work now fine. Yeah. Spring was a new day. My sweetheart left me, lost and wet and wail. Now she's gone, and I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. Well, she called me up from down in El Paso, said, come back, Daddy, Lord, I need you so. Now she's gone, and I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world.
Fantastic,
Fantastic. Thank you so much indeed. That was absolutely brilliant.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Amazing.
Great.
Mac, thank you so much indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and thank you for just covering all of that in terms of the tech and the musical finish. I absolutely love that, and just your whole story and everything. And I think it just goes to show it's why we just love doing this, you know, the chance to see people in the Ecamm Fam just using the tool but sharing their passions through the tool and coming together in this way. So yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you, Mac.
Thank you.
Incredible.
Well, follow that.
Well, I guess you're going to start practicing very, very soon. It's one of the things we're going to be doing.
Yeah, I'll be practicing now.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you for everyone who's been watching. I know you guys have all been commenting away. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, exactly. Just some amazing sort of thoughts and feelings and everything, which is going to be going on from there. Hi, Johnny. Thank you for coming back here. Really do appreciate what you're doing within there. Who else did we have? We had a few people who were in here. Oh, this was George's idea of maybe what we're going to be doing while we're on tour. We're going to be Creative Amplifiers Unplugged. I like that as a concept and an idea.
Be unplugged, so nobody can hear us. That's probably the best thing.
Neil, you should have bought that hat.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Fantastic. Well, how do we follow that? So, well, let's make sure that everybody knows exactly where they can find more about Mac and everything as well. So he's just saying, thanks so much. Really appreciate all of those things. So let's make sure that people can remember about the retreat as well, because that sounds like such a fantastic thing if you want to do there. So you can find out everything you need to know using those QR codes and all the details that are on the screen there as well. And also, I love all of his graphics that he's got from those things as well. I saw the one on the left, which was just in the bottom corner, which is absolutely fantastic. I love that. So yeah, really, really good. Really appreciate it. So anyway, his socials, and if you want to get hold of him, if you want to follow what he's doing, all of those sorts of things, then there you go. Everything you need in there is going to be available. So, Neil, would you like to take us into who our next guest is going to be?
Oh yeah, sorry, I was nearly on Creative Showcase for a second. That's not going to work. Our next guest is somebody that's in the audience already. We've got Awesome Wood Things. Matt Haas will be joining us in a couple of weeks' time, and that is a very, very powerful image of Matt there. And we'll be looking forward to seeing Matt in a couple of weeks. So Matt, thank you for joining us tonight here in the comments, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, going to be amazing. And oh, that's great. Oh yeah, so there we are. That's the person that was designing Mac's graphics and everything. Yeah, so cool. When you've got something you can really sort of pull in from that, it gives you a real sort of identity and a skill set from those things. Absolutely love it. Okay, let's have a look at our creator showcase, shall we?
All right, so this week's Creator Showcase is none other than the great Leslie Samuel. Now, we all know Leslie as the MC in charge at Creator Camp, and it was great to get to know him a little better over dinner at Amesbury with Billy, Lisa and Mark. We had some great fun at the Mexican restaurant, which was wonderful. Leslie is also an amazing content creator, as if you didn't know that already. He's a public speaker, tech and social media commentator, and podcaster. And his latest shorts channel, which I've been enjoying, is called Truth or Trash, aims to demystify the many topics relating to biology. Who would have thought? So check out Leslie's socials and website below. And it was great to meet Leslie, as I said. So yeah, what a great creator showcase today.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It's great to sort of hear what he's up to, and his shorts are really worth looking at in terms of truth or fact or fiction, or
Truth or trash.
Truth or trash. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Love those things as well. And just thank you to everyone who's still here watching. Gretchen, thank you so much for being here. Of course, Marcus is here as well, and Kathy. Fantastic. Exactly, for the people. Shall we? Shall we? Should we? Maybe.
Oh,
We absolutely must. Let's do this.
Never gets old.
the good old days.
I'm welling up
Exactly.
a little bit, actually. Welling up. There you go.
Time's moved on. So I know this is what everyone's been waiting for, and we do have just a little bit of a quiz for you. And George, if you're still here, I don't think you can ever be dethroned, but I know people are wanting to be able to at least challenge your internet speed, or certainly your inside of knowledge of maybe some of these questions. So here we go. Our quiz for this evening. Okay, so question number 1. Who hosts Ecamm Office Hours with Katie? And remember, you can put A, B, C, or D, or you can write the whole answer out. So we have A, Paul Dixon, B, Paul McCartney, C, Paul Duncan, or D, Paul Newman. Let us know who it is that you think it is in there. A, B, C, or D, or you can write out the whole name, whatever you think is going to work for you. Do let us know. Put it in the chat. And yeah, we will see who gets the first question in for the first question. So we have a couple of people in here.
Comments are hilarious.
I love
There we
the
are.
comments.
Paul Dixon. So I'm afraid, is it going to be good? Is it going to be wrong? We will see. We have George has put his in as well. We have Johnny's put in his as well. Mac's still here. There's just so many things. But the correct answer is, obviously, it was Mr. Paul Duncan, Mr. Moderator. And I think the first person, it was George. Congratulations, George. Well done. You are the winner of Question Winner. So, did you put that in, Neil? I'm sure you didn't need to. It was already down. It was already a given.
I've already got the list ready for Christmas.
For that already, like it's just already there.
Yeah, exactly. We've just had this conversation earlier today about what we could see through the prompter, whether we were wearing glasses, whether we could see all the details. So we're completely with you. We know exactly what you're going.
You understand?
Exactly. Oh, Johnny. Who knows? How in the world would George type the answer while I was picking? Oh dear, it really is just incredible. Okay, here we go.
It's a mystery.
Question number 2.
Which AI tool can create audio podcasts? Is it A, ChatGPT, B, Notebook LM, C, Midjourney, or D, Claude? Claude.
By the way, you say Claude.
Very nicely
Claude.
done.
That's a little French, yeah?
A little French, aren't they?
It's called
Vas-y.
French.
Yeah, I think
George
you're
is no delay.
Yeah, I think you're right. Interestingly, I did my first AI podcast last week. I asked it to do a little recap of the last few episodes. All I had to do was to give it a bit of information, a bit of website, a few YouTube links, and it was amazing. I was very, very impressed, and it was following Neil's kind of little tutorial about this particular one. So we will see. So we've got a couple of answers coming through. Some people think Notebook LM. George thinks it's Claude. Marcus thinks it's a notebook. Johnny thinks it's Claude as well. So, interestingly, I can say, though, sadly, this time, George, it's actually not that. The actual answer is... it's Notebook LM. So, congratulations. I think the first person... it's all right. There you go. Fantastic. Well done indeed. Thank you.
And you know, you all would have known if you subscribed to my channel, you would have known the answer to this already. Just saying. Anyway, but I'm not bitter or anything.
No, that's very true.
Don't be bitter now.
Back to that traumatic trigger again. That traumatic trigger.
Exactly. Yeah, indeed, Marcus. It's not a given, you see. All sorts of things are like that. And they are second choice. They are, see, they are, it's the thing.
You knew it already. There you go. Oh,
we'll give you a sad face though, George, anyway. Okay, here we go. Question number 3.
All right, what is the name of Doc's new product? Is it A, Doc Pops, B, Doc Pups, C, Doc Paps, or D, Doc Martins? A, B, C, or D? You know what to do. And Mark is already basically showcasing the correct answer. I need to give the correct answer away then. So showcasing. Oh, it's so difficult. So difficult.
Neil, come on now.
So the question is...
it's all this water.
all this water. Yeah, we know your type of water. Does my microphone sound different? This is the new version of Doc's product.
You sound like Doc right now. No, I'm just kidding. You sound good. You sound good.
I'm good. Yeah.
So we have a few questions.
I like it.
So, George, I'm going to put this up. You tell me if this is what you meant to say or whether you were coming up with version E.
I think he was typing so fast.
He was,
so
and then
fast.
he's corrected it as well. Exactly. George in, Marcus is in. There we go. Auto correct. So I think we all, know what's going on. Everyone pretty much has got there, and the answer, of course, is Doc Pops. So congratulations to everybody, and the winner is, even having put the wrong answer because of autocorrect first, it's still George.
There you go.
And I'm just going back to check that's the case. I think that is correct. It is correct. Yes, indeed, and everyone else was in there as well. Thank you so much indeed, everybody. Yes.
What's interesting, is George was able to correct his autocorrect mistake even before anybody else got another answer in.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
No.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm telling you, it's George AI for the win.
George AI.
Next year. That's what I'll be using. Forget Notebook LM and Claude. I'll be using George.
Exactly. You're very welcome, George. And he didn't give any secrets away at camp either. You know, he was just so nice.
I tried.
Exactly. We were asking questions. Was there some kind of extra Speedify upper level that you can buy, which has your super internet speed plus whatever amazing other things they do as well? And it just is a question.
Smiled and said,
Yeah, you've seen the Matrix. George is plugged in. Literally, he's plugged in. He just plugs himself in before we start the show.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. There we are. Everyone needs George's internet. And what can we do? Indeed. George, amazing. Thank you so much. As
George
always.
Link. That's what I'm going to be buying. George Link.
George Link, exactly. Now,
Forget Starlink. I want George Link.
Forget Starlink.
Now, as much as I love this wonderful color because it fits very nicely with my sort of podcast branding, it doesn't quite blend in the same way in terms of our black. Let's blend everything in and not focus too much. So, as it's all about me, maybe I'll keep it for next time. But we'll just see.
Hey, we're good. We're good with it.
Okay, we're good. Just on his iPhone. That's amazing.
That's not possible, George.
I don't know. Would it be better if he's just talking? If he can talk into it rather than... I don't know. don't know. There's going
It's
to
a
be a drugs.
mystery.
There's going to be a drugs test of some description or something. You know? See if we can get it. Anyway, should we have a look at a few pictures?
Yes.
So,
Yes,
So-
that is me, the
Yes.
queen of quite a lot.
the Queen, yes, I mean, it seemed apt. I mean, we were in Noob Report, weren't we? This is where this was taken, and
That's right. You report. Yep.
exactly. I'm not sure we've got the photo of Lisa actually wearing that outfit. Maybe that was in a different folder I couldn't find. But yes, this was when we had one of our days off just before camp started. And while we're not actually wearing either Ecamm or even Creative Amplifiers merch, we thought actually it was probably something that was worth sharing. Because not only was Lisa there posing for that, but Neil was doing the same as well.
Jeez.
That's the hat
my.
I was talking about that
Yeah.
you need when we go unplugged.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
And
I'm just sorry I didn't buy it now.
I'm
I
not.
know.
I'm not sure that's the first time you've done that kind of pose. I think that's probably.
I know. It's very Zoolander. Got a
Yeah.
Zoolander
Well,
vibe.
you know, I've watched that film a number of times. That's-
I see.
model myself on that film. What can I say? You know,
Oh dear. Yes,
was it Blue
indeed.
Steel? Was it? I can't remember the name of its actual
don't.
thing you've been practicing for years. Anyway,
Oh dear. Anyway,
dear.
Johnny thinks George has got the iPhone 100. So yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe he's just a little bit ahead of the
It's a
game.
prototype.
With all those things coming out. So, oh dear. Yeah. So anyway, more pictures, more things. Neil, why don't you take us into what people could do to get involved in the show, whether it's merch on the perch or anything else?
well, you can certainly take a picture of yourself with a funny hat and send it in. That's number one. But we'd like to see any of your merch photos. It doesn't have to be Ecamm merch. Let's show us some of the behind the scenes as we've seen today from Mac's setup. It's been amazing to see what kind of gear and tools he uses. So yeah, send us your merch photos, any photos you like. You can also nominate yourself to be a guest, or even nominate somebody else if you want to. If you think there's a really good creator out there that you want to have on our show, then please do that. But nominate yourself as well. And tell us about your show. At the end of the day, we created this for you. We wanted to know all about you as a content creator, how you use Ecamm, what's your workflows, and as we've seen tonight, an amazing use case of Ecamm in something very different that we haven't seen before. So how do you get there? You can get to us by going to creativeamplifiers.live or scan that QR code and it will take you to a guest sign up. So do it. We're fully booked, I think, now for this year. Is that right, guys? I think we're pretty
Yeah.
much fully booked for
think
this
it
year.
probably is.
So next time will be, I think we're even going into late February, March of 2025. How amazing is that? So yeah, get yourselves booked in, sign up. We want to see you.
But of course, if you can't wait that long, just send us some of your details and we can start doing daily shows because none of us have got anything.
Send us some of your Bitcoin and we'll fit you in.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We can make it work.
Lisa
We
didn't
can
know
make it-
about this, Mark, but there you go.
That's right.
I didn't get the memo.
Oh,
well.
okay. Note to self in Notion. That was what that new section was in our
I didn't
planning.
get my notion. Didn't get my notion.
If it's not in Notion, we don't know about it.
We don't know about
Don't know
it.
about it.
Exactly. Well, thank you everyone for watching. This has been very, very cool. It's been very, very fun. And you're welcome to join us whenever. We're here to have fun, to hang out. That was the reason we created the show, to share hopefully some great information about the people in the fam and how they use Ecamm and all that sort of stuff. But also just, like I said, hang out, have a laugh, decide when we're going to be doing our world tour of our guitar trio for Creative Amplifiers Unplugged. I'm going to speak to my son and see if we can find a guitar that I can try not to break that's going to cost him too much money, yeah, we can go from there. And before we release those dates, is there anything else that we need to share with everybody before we say goodbye? And I will start looking at my diary to see what the first countries that we're going to be performing in.
If all fails, I can play the tambourine.
There you go. I got the triangle.
It's harmless. Cowbell.
And Mark's told me how important that is in an orchestral show. So there you go.
Well, I'd just like to say I've managed to make a career out of playing the triangle and the tambourine. So I'm all for it. It works. It works. It works.
I
Fantastic.
think Mac is shaking his head right now as he speaks. Like, what are you guys talking about?
Exactly.
So there you go.
Exactly. Anyway, on that note, we will say goodbye. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure as always. Well, I've missed Lisa and Neil because obviously I was on holiday a couple of weeks ago. So even though I just popped in, it's been like nearly a month since we've properly hung out and done anything properly. So it's great to be back, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
See you then. Bye.